Go select.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Locke. Once again, I've been asked by lots of newer guildmates to do some newbie training. I guess Jake doesn't know how to progress in the game, so he really wanted some help. So I thought I'd go ahead and do that. The first thing I want to talk about is there are like 6 Mons that you absolutely need to get at some point in the game. You don't have to 6-star them all, obviously. I have lots of them 6-starred. But you gotta have Megan. She's farmable. She's a 3-star, so eventually you'll get her in an unknown scroll. Keymon, her build is swift. People tell you speed, HP, but really it's all about speed. Again, pardon my endgame looking units when you're looking at some of these stats, but as fast as you possibly can. Speed subs. I've crit D on mine because I have 15 speed on it. That one's a crappy rune, but I've got defense because I've got 9 speed on that one. So she's swift and fast. The second set she can be broken set. It's totally fine. Most people probably wouldn't throw it out there, but I think Vigor is a very important mon to have early game as an attacker and a tank, especially if you're looking in Guild War and you're looking in arena offense. Lots of wind nukers can be out there, and you can get Vigor to have a lot of HP. Not in Mon, you need a 6-star early by any means, but he can really help you take some damage. And his third skill, with its 3-turn D-break, is awesome. It can really help early game. So I would put Vigor on that list. He's probably not on most people's lists. He's not as important as some of these other units, but he's definitely one you would want to get and hold on to. Again, we're talking only 3-star units because we're talking about farmable units here. On that note, Beretta is actually a 4-star, and he is completely farmable. So I would say at some point you would want to get him. Again, not super early game, probably more mid-game when you're looking to progress in TOA. He's a viable early Dragons team, but not a viable speed Dragons team. So you can use it all throughout the game. So if you do find yourself getting the Mons to be able to fuse him, I would probably go ahead and do that, but I wouldn't make it a super high priority, but definitely a very useful farmable Mon in the game. Colleen, not a high priority, but if you see one in the store, buy her, throw her in storage or work on her slowly when you're doing some double XP, and she's great for raid and necroach at some point you'll be getting to, so keep one of her lying around at some point to work on, awaken, whatever it might be. Before I go, I did notice I forgot to touch on Kona. Kona Mia must have. Again, a viable early game Dragon's 10 team member. Speed, and he's got to be violent. So again, that's hard early game, so go swift, but really improves when you have violent on him. So go ahead and get one from the store, super farmable, and work on it. Going on the wind units, Bernard. Mine's painfully slow, but get Bernard. He's swift speed, broken set, doesn't matter, but as much speed as you can get on him. Very viable, especially for a speed Dragons team, but very viable just for a regular, not Dragons, a Giants team. I use him in Giants 10 right now, and hopefully I'll post an early game farmable units Giants team here in the next couple of days too. Or Ramagod. I don't use him much, but very viable. You can do all energy. Vampire is more the mid-end game usage. Can sustain himself a lot better that way, but definitely a mon you want to get and keep. Copper, Again, another just heavy hitter, and I'll have to find some damage screenshots of mine, but mine doesn't have crit D on it, and I with a defensive boost from Windhorse or Randy, I can hit like 37k damage on him. I prefer my vampire; it helps him sustain. Lots of people Rage Blade is possible, or all guard. People do it all guard, and that's fine too. Chaesoon, JJ, how farmable is Chaesoon? When you summon a scroll on mine, it's pretty farmable, isn't it? Not farmable at all. Then there's the light trio. Not I'm on not really a viable late game unit anymore in this meta, but a great early to mid game unit. Speed, 100% crit rate is a must, and as much HP as possible. I used him all the time early game. You won't regret going out and getting him, awakening him, and eventually moving him into 6 stars, depending where you're at in the game and who else you have. You have Chaesoon, probably don't need Amon as much, but still a viable unit to farm for. Darien, his passive is fantastic. That 15% extra damage your team can take is just unbelievable. So get him. Just don't max his second skill, whatever you do, because that makes him less viable on auto. But um, just a great farmable mon for Giants, early Giants teams. And finally, Bella. Bella is probably the most useful mon in the game outside of Zeros. But Zeros isn't farmable. You know, Bella is fantastic. I use mine everywhere. Easily I'm on for a fast Dragons team. Must for Necro B10. Used Guild War, Arena, even offense and defense you can use Bella for. So get Bella. Again, Bella's build is violent, but you can go swift. Early game, you can go swift with Bella. You're just going to have to change out eventually, but speed. You want as fast as possible. And you also want to keep accuracy in mind, but speed is more important. Again, you can go all HP. You can go HP. Speed typically on 2. HP and defense can be your others. I would keep it on those 2 for Bella. I know with like Megan, I said use your fastest runes speed-wise. It's a little different with a mon like Bella. You really do want to keep it HP and in defense if possible. Even if not possible, just find a way to do it. I mean, I think that's it for farmable mons. I mean, if you really want to build a if you really want to build like copper, you could 5-star Randy. Randy's third skill is a crit rate and debuff, so it really helps, but Randy is not really an early game unit, so I wouldn't do any more than 4 or 5-star it for specific situations. I'd make it speedy so it can go first, because it's gonna get killed. For sure. I mean, that's what I have. Like, fusing Sig, if you get a Chloe, I would definitely, Chloe here, SR, I'll show you Chloe. If you get Chloe, there she is, if you get Chloe. I would work on fusing a cat. I use my cat all the time. Watch my videos, you'll see me using her in Guild War all the time. I love my Katarina. And she's really not even that great, but I absolutely love using her. So, you can go out here and you can look at your fusion hexagram. And, I said, if you get the pieces for Beretta, well, I couldn't find him there. If you get your pieces for Beretta, go ahead and fuse him. Totally worth it if you have these laying around. Go ahead and do it. Totally worth the 100,000 mana. Look at these. If you start getting some of these guys, if you summon an Orang and Miking, and then Chakin is farmable, and so is Bretta, maybe think about Cat. Again, not early game, but as you're progressing, if you see some of these mons, the Wind Vampire or the Fire Succubus, or again the Water Undyne. If you start seeing some of these mons, or you summon them all, I mean, Vero is totally needed in this. I mean, one of the game-changing mons that they basically give you for free. So if you get the 4 things for him, make it a priority to summon him. Um, you know, Varro's a farmable mon more or less. So it just is so incredibly useful in the game. Again, speed. Um, speed Nemesis, really Nemesis not as easy to get early game, so I wouldn't worry about that. But you can go Swift, not as good, but is definitely viable early game. So um, those are kind of my thought getting into runes, and I'm gonna do a video on that here. I think that's been asked for quite a bit too. But um, if you're early in the game and you're looking for to get those mons, rewatch this video. Those are the mons that you want to be able to continue to progress positively through the game and not have issues. The other one is Shannon. I can't forget to shout out Shannon. I've never 6-starred mine. You don't have to 6-star yours. But Shannon is the Wind Pixie. Definitely a viable mon early game and late game. Lots of people can use her later game depending on who you have. Get her. Again, she can be Swift or Despair, both giant runes, so very easy to come by. Then there's Rogue. Rogue probably doesn't need to go past 5-star unless you're late game using him for Necro. But definitely can be a farming mon early in the game if that's what you feel you need if you don't have enough good friends to help you do that. I mean, that's pretty much it for farmable 3-star mons that you want to keep your hands on if you get. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope this helps you progress in the game. Again, this is Ender Locke. MTFing War. Hit me up on line at Ender Locke. Comment here. I'm willing to answer questions. We're willing to get you into the family and help you learn and continue to progress in the game. So Ender Locke online. You can see it's right down here in this bright pink font. And once again, glad to have you here and hope you stop by again. Thanks for subscribing. Crazy.